Our objective for today is I can use mental math strategies to solve subtraction problems. So to start, let's talk about a little bit of subtraction vocabulary. So the first word is subtract, and subtract just means to take away. Next, we have the word minus, which a lot of times we say when we're talking about a subtraction problem. So for example, I would say 7 minus 5. So minus just means less, and it's that vocabulary that we use when we're reading the number sentence. Next, we have our three parts of our subtraction problem. So we have our minuend, we have our subtrahend, and then we also have our difference. And so I remember these, and I remember the order because of a third grade teacher that we have here at Orchard Farm Elementary, and her name is Mrs. Stanley Deist. So I remember the M.S.D. as Mrs. Stanley Deist, and that's the same order as they are in a subtraction problem. So looking at this one, the minuend is at the top. It's the biggest number. It would be our whole. The subtrahend is what is being taken away. And then our difference is the answer in a subtraction problem. So Mrs. Stanley Deist, minuend, subtrahend, difference. Same way if we write our problem going horizontally. Our minuend is our first number. It would be our whole. And then I have my subtrahend. That's what's being taken away. And then finally, I have my difference, which is my answer. So as we're going through our mental math strategies, I'm going to use a lot of this vocabulary: subtract, minus, minuend, subtrahend, and difference. So let's get started on our strategies. Our first strategy is minus 0. So when you subtract 0, the difference is always going to be the same as the minuend. So here's some examples. If I have 8 and I subtract 0, I am still left with 8. So my minuend and my difference are both the same. Same thing with 16 minus 0. Minuend, difference, both the same because I'm not taking anything away. And that's true no matter what number you use. So even if you use a number such as 6,514, if you subtract 0, your difference, your answer is going to be 6,514. Our next strategy is when we subtract everything back away. So when you subtract everything, then the minuend and the subtrahend are the same numbers, so you're always going to be left with 0. So our first example, I have 6 minus 6. Our minuend is 6, our subtrahend is 6. If I had 6, I took 6 away. I'm left with 0. Same thing if I did 22 minus 22. Subtrahend, minuend are both the same, so I am left with nothing. Again, we could even do bigger numbers, and it's always going to be the same. So 3,082 minus 3,082 is 0. Now we're going to talk about when we just subtract 1 or 2. So we just have the subtrahend is 1 or 2. So you're going to hold the minuend in your head, that first number, and then you're going to think about, well, what would come before that number? So for example, 7 minus 1. If I hold 7 in my head, I need to think, well, what comes before 7? 1 before would be 6. So 7 minus 1 equals 6. So now let's do 19 minus 2. So now I'm going to hold 19 in my head. I think about what number comes before 19. That'd be 18, but I'm subtracting 2, so I need to go back one more. So what comes before 18? 17. So 19 minus 2 equals 17. Let's try one more with 31 minus 2. So now I'm going to hold the 31 in my head. And I'm going to think about what comes before 31. 30. What comes before 30? 29. So 31 minus 2 equals 29. Our next strategy is all about our friends of 10. So our friends of 10 were from our addition strategies, but we can also use these friends of 10 to solve subtraction. So here's a reminder of our friends of 10. We have 0 and 10, 1 and 9, 2 and 8, 3 and 7, 4 and 5, and 5 and 5. And now we also know that those can go flip-flop, right? It can be 0 plus 10, but it can also be 10 plus 0. So they go both ways. So now when we're thinking about subtraction, let's say I have the problem 10 minus 4. Well, when I start with that 10, I think, okay, that's going to be a friend of 10. So what I'm really thinking about is, okay, what's my friend with 4? 4 plus what is going to equal 10? Well, I know 4's friend is 6. So 10 minus 4 equals 6. Here's our next one, 10 minus 2. Think to yourself, what would this answer be? I'm thinking 2 plus what equals 10? So what's the friend of 2? It would be 8. Last one, 10 minus 7. So think about 7 plus what would equal 10? What is 7's friend? It would be 3. Our next strategy is thinking about doubles facts. So I can use doubles addition facts to solve doubles subtraction facts. So same way that we've been doing, our whole is going to be the beginning of our subtraction problem. So here I have 10 minus 5. And so I know this is a doubles fact because I know that 5 and 10 are connected. So 5 plus what would equal 10? Well, I know it's the doubles fact, so it would be 5 plus 5. So 10 minus 5 equals 5. Are these reminding you of our fact families? Hopefully they are. Next, we have 6 minus 3. So thinking about 3 plus what equals 6? There's another one of our doubles facts. So we know that our answer is 3. Our last one is 14 minus 7. So I'm thinking 7 plus what equals 14? Again, we have another doubles fact. So I know that our difference is going to be 7. Our next strategy is when we take away 10. So when subtracting 10, think about taking away 1 from the tens place. We know that 10 ones is equal to 1 10. So we're just going to imagine taking away 1 10 when we're doing this. So let's start with 11 minus 10 and let's visualize those base 10 blocks. So I'm going to start with my 11. Here's my 110 plus 1 more, which is 11. If I'm taking away this 10, how much am I left with? Just 1. So when I'm looking at 11, this 1 is in the tens place, and that's what I took away. So I'm left with just this 1. Let's look at another one. Let's do 17 minus 10. And again, let's start with our base 10 blocks. So here's my 17, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right, so I'm going to take away my 10. Now it's gone from my base 10 blocks. If I'm looking at my number, again, I'm just going to take away this 10. So what am I left with? 7. Last one is 15 minus 5. So not 5, 15 minus 10, sorry. So let's take away my 110. How many am I left with? 5. Our next strategy is going to be counting up. So for this one, I'm going to hold the subtrahend in my head, and then I'm going to count up to the minuend. So 8 minus 3, my subtrahend, remember that's my middle number. So I'm going to hold the 3 in my head, and then I'm going to count up to 8. So what I like to do a lot of times is I like to grab it and then count on. So I'm going to grab my 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many did I count up? I counted up 5. So 8 minus 3 equals 5. Let's try another one. Remember, we start with our subtrahend, start with the middle, and we're going to count up to 12. So let's grab my 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Again, our answer is 5. Try this last one on your own, and then we'll check. All right, did you grab the 5 and count up to 18? So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I used all 10 plus 3 more. So 18 minus 5 equals 13. Our last strategy is thinking about addition facts. So I can use the related facts to solve subtraction facts. So this is the same way that we were thinking about our fact families. I know that addition and subtraction, they undo each other. So sometimes I just have to think about, well, what would be that addition problem? And then I can use that to know my subtraction problem. So for example, for 9 minus 6, I can think about this as 6 plus what equals 9. So what I could do is I could start at my 6, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, I have 3. So now let's look at this one, 13 minus 8. So I have to think about 8 plus what number is going to equal 13. Well, if I know my addition facts, I know that 8 plus 5 equals 13. And the last one, I have 17 minus 11. 11 plus what is going to equal 17? 11 plus 6. All right, great work on all of these mental math strategies. Your independent practice for today is this worksheet called Training Wheels. And so the directions say, roll 1 die and write the number in the center circle. Then subtract it from each number around the wheel to find the difference. Repeat for the second wheel. So what you could do is roll the dice again and get a different number. So let's say I roll my die and I get 5. So I would put 5 here in the middle, and then I would solve 9 minus 5. 9 minus 5 equals 4, so I'd write a big 4 in that little piece of the circle. So next I come over here to the 6. 6 minus 5, that would equal 1, so I'd put that in this piece of the circle, and then go all the way around. And then you can do it again for this one.